Traditionally, to ward off vampires, garlic cloves were hung over doors, windows, or around the neck. So if you have a vampire problem or you have an evil entity problem, you use garlic. Hey everyone, welcome to Ancient Life Hacks. I'm Jared Madsen. I have a master's degree in Chinese medicine. I lived in China for many years. I'm fluent in Chinese. And today we will be talking about garlic. So in Chinese cuisine, there are three key ingredients that you will find in virtually every dish. Those are scallions or green onions, ginger, and garlic. So sometimes you find all three of these, sometimes you only find one. It would be very rare to not find at least one of these. So the real question is why? Why are these so important? Well, is it just because they taste good? Yes, they taste amazing, but there are key properties to each of these that we find in traditional Chinese medicine. And traditional Chinese medicine that has seeped its way into Chinese culture and Chinese cuisine. So today we will be diving into garlic. What we are going to learn is the deeper meanings and powers, magical powers that garlic has according to Chinese medicine. We'll also learn a little bit from Western herbology. We will dive into some uses of garlic, so it's not just for food. We can find some other uses. And then we will get into recipes. So how do we use this in cooking? How do we incorporate this into our diet? Why and when? We're going to do a deep dive. We're going to uncover all of these. And then maybe, just for fun, at the very end, we're going to learn how to ward off vampires and scare away ghosts and all those fun things from folklore. We'll look into both the East and the West and some different uses that garlic were used for. So be sure to stick around for that, because maybe we'll find something that is actually really useful. But before that, we're going to get into some actual uses. So we're going to start this off by going deep immediately. We are going to look, this is a textbook that is used on Chinese herbology. This is the real deal. This has the information that we need. So we are going to take a look into this. If you want to go deeper, I will leave a link in the description below where you can go and purchase this book. So we're going to dive in and read about garlic. The properties of garlic are acrid, which also you can translate that as pungent, and warm. Okay, so we're going to get into what both of those mean, why those are important. But so you remember, it's acrid, pungent, and it is warm. Garlic also enters the meridians of the large intestine, the lung, the spleen, and the stomach. So basically, to put that another way, that the energies of garlic, the powers that garlic have, are especially good for those organs. And we're going to dive into specifically how that manifests. You might be saying to yourself, hey Jared, I don't need to know all this stuff. I just want to get the recipes. You know what? You can do that. You can skip ahead. I won't be offended. But I tell you what, you're going to miss. This is kind of the key stuff. It's really understanding the powers that garlic have. And then you will be able to determine for yourself how you use it, where you use it. If all you know are a few recipes, it's good, but what you really want to understand is the powers that garlic have and how it's used. Then you can use it in all kinds of dishes and find a lot more ways than the few examples that I'm going to give. We're going to look into the actions and indications. Kills parasites for hookworms and pinworms, and in combination with other herbs for other types of intestinal parasites. Also used for ringworm of the scalp. Okay, so we're not super worried about that right now. If you do have worms, you might want to do a little bit more than just eating garlic, but this kind of goes back to one of the organs that it enters into is the large intestine. So keep that in the back of your head. It has the power to kill these bad things. Relieves toxicity for diarrhea, dysentery, consumption, and sudden coughing. Okay, so now we're kind of getting into it a little bit more here. To put it another way, the channels that it entered were spleen and stomach. And spleen is also kind of pancreas. That's all in Chinese medicine, all falls into the same thing. So it is good for digestion because some of these symptoms come from problems with your digestion, not just from the intestines. So we're going to dive into that into a little bit. The last one here we have is used to prevent influenza and for treating food poisoning from shellfish. Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a second with the book. Those are the main medical things. What we really want to understand about garlic, and this kind of applies for ginger and scallions. So if you haven't seen my episodes on scallions, green onions, and ginger, I would highly recommend that. One thing that all three of these have in common is their base properties. So they're acrid and pungent, and they are warm, all three of them. So what that means, one thing that they have in common, and this is why we're going to use it in Chinese cooking, is the acrid, pungent flavor of these three has the ability to push bad things up and out of the body by opening the pores. In Chinese medicine, we say there are 6 evils. These are external things like heat and cold and wind. They're outside of our body, but they're trying to get in and they're trying to harm us. And therefore, we have to defend ourselves. Now, I did a whole podcast on qi, on the vital energy of Chinese medicine. You can check that out, and it goes into defensive qi that helps block that. But if we do things like, say, it's wintertime, and we go, you know what, I'm gonna wear shorts, and I'm gonna run around outside, and I'm gonna start to sweat, you run the risk. It may or may not happen, but you run the risk because you have opened your pores. What that is doing is it's opening kind of yourself to the outside world. So things can come in or things can go out when you sweat. So if you're out in a harsh environment that has these 6 evils that want to get in and attack you, you want to be careful of that. So that's something we want to watch out for. Now, if something does enter, and it just enters into the surface, it's very light. Maybe you get a little cold, right? You get the sniffles, or you feel you're going to come down with something, but you don't quite have something yet. I'm sure we've all felt that. It's like, I feel like I might get sick. That's the time that you break out the scallions, the ginger, and the garlic, because that acrid property, that pungent property, has the ability to open the pores and push these bad things out. These things that have just begun to enter, right? If they go much deeper, unless it's like the stomach or the large intestine, that's a little different, where we're seeing that attack different ringworms and things like that. But what I'm talking about here is just that stuff that has just started to enter your body. You just start to get a cold. These 3 things, or one or all of them in various combinations, can be used to help push that out of your body. So just to go off on a slight tangent here, if you actually start to get a cold and you make one of these concoctions that I give you, or that I've given you in one of the other videos, what you're going to want to do is put your nice extra warm pajamas on, or get yourself a nice big onesie. If you want to go all out, you wear a stocking cap and socks and gloves. You take one of these, whether it's boiled ginger or some garlic, whatever it is, you take it and then you go and you get under the covers, because you're going to start to sweat. So sweating not only can have things come in, it can also push things out. So that whole process of sweating is you're sweating that cold out. You're sweating those 6 evils out. You're sweating those pathogens out of the body. If you take these and you start to sweat, but you live in, maybe you're outside, which would be bad, or you're in a house that's real cold and drafty, you could make it worse. Right? Or you could, in Korean Chinese medicine, you could catch a cold that way. It can enter through the pores. So that's why it's very important to get under the covers. Now the warming, so that's pungent acrid, is pushing that stuff out. The warming properties of garlic and of ginger and scallions, but we're talking about garlic specifically today, is a warming. It warms your body internally from the inside out. That is what warm means. So it doesn't mean that you have to eat garlic warm. It's not saying that. It's saying that it has the power to warm your body. Also, specifically has the power to warm your spleen, stomach, your digestion. So digestion in Chinese medicine, you can think of the spleen, the pancreas as the fire, and then the stomach as the pot. So it's almost like your digestion is you're boiling something. It's basically exactly that. And so things like garlic and ginger and scallions help keep that spleen fire going, that pancreas fire going, to help you really digest your food well. And then it will be able to pass that on. You'll be able to absorb all those nutrients and everything like that. That's one way that garlic is used. That's why you'll find it in so many things, because it just simply is very good at keeping your digestion working well. It warms the system, specifically the spleen and stomach. It warms that. And it also has the power to, we can call it boost immunity, right? We can say something like that, like these, it has that power to push stuff out. So we're not necessarily, when we cook, we don't necessarily take so much of this that it makes us sweat, but it'll just kind of have this constant pushing out of bad stuff. That's the magical powers of those three things. I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want to incorporate these into your diet. These are basically good for most people. I mean, unless you have an allergy to them, this is great stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at some of the specific uses that we can find in garlic. The concept of toxicity in Chinese medicine is maybe a little bit different than what we're used to. You can just think of it. Let's just think of it in a simple way. It's anything that you might eat. In this particular case, for garlic, this is not toxicity in general, but for this particular case, something that you eat that will make you feel a little bit off. Garlic can help counteract that, as can ginger and scallions. Seafood has the tendency, if not really fresh and prepared really well, and even then you still run the risk of getting various types of seafood poisoning. So seafood has a lot of benefits for the body. I don't want to say that seafood is not bad. It's very good for you. You should definitely incorporate it into your diet if you are not already. But we have to watch out for seafood poisoning. So some people like to eat seafood raw. I get that, but at the same time, I don't. I would highly advise against eating seafood raw. You might be yelling at me right now saying, Jared, I love my sashimi. Well, you want to know what? You probably don't want to eat raw fish. I'm sorry. I've said it. There it is. It is not good for multiple reasons. One is that you have the much greater chance of getting seafood poisoning and having the toxicity of seafood enter into your body if you're eating it raw, because cooking might not get all of it, but it'll get a lot of it. Cooking will. And then two, your digestion, you want to heat foods, and it makes it much easier on your spleen and stomach, just like what we were just talking about. That needs to be warm. You got the fire going. If you're boiling a soup, right? Your stomach's the soup, right? Or you're just boiling a soup. It's the soup. It's the same idea. And then you throw a giant raw cold fish into it. It's going to take a lot longer for the water to boil again and to cook the fish. Whereas if you were to take a already warm, fully cooked fish and you put it in the soup, it might not even really skip a beat. We want to think of our stomach as giving it as little work as possible. And by eating raw meats and raw seafood, that heavily taxes your digestive system. You might feel okay once or twice, but after a while, if this is the way that you're eating, you not only have these toxicity and seafood problems, you also will gradually over time weaken your digestion. So I'm more about preventing problems than trying to deal with problems later. So just cook your fish. There's a lot of great ways to cook seafood. And like we're talking about now, add some garlic with it. That helps with the toxicity of seafood as well. So cook it with some garlic, cook it with some ginger. Ginger is very potent at getting rid of seafood toxicity, right? Like if you go and get a fish at a Chinese restaurant, some of the fish they cook are really simple, and they basically, it's just you cook the fish in oil and you add a whole lot of scallions, ginger, and garlic. You do that and throw some salt on it. You just do that. That is amazing fish right there. It is very tasty. And by cooking it and adding those three things, you have now greatly reduced, now nothing's 100% in the world, but you've reduced your chance of getting seafood toxicity. And that's why so many seafood dishes in China have those three ingredients. Why not? Why take the chance? Plus, they're delicious. Let's look at the uses of garlic in Western herbology. So we were talking about Chinese. Heart health. So garlic is known for its ability to lower cholesterol levels and blood pressure. We talked a little bit about that previously. Antimicrobial properties. It has been used to fight infections both internally and externally. This is in the West. This is what the West does. This is not Chinese medicine anymore. This is traditional Western uses. Garlic is often used to strengthen the immune system and prevent colds and flu. So we're seeing now that some of the uses overlap. I mean, that would make sense that whether you're in the East or the West, that both these cultures have discovered some of these great powers of garlic. Okay, so now we are going to look at some folk uses of garlic without going into the good stuff yet. We're going to look at some folk uses of garlic from around the world. In European folk medicine, garlic was used to ward off the common cold and as a remedy for respiratory problems. A popular method was to eat raw garlic or to inhale the steam from boiled garlic, right? So you put the boiled garlic in a pot, or you put the garlic in a pot, I should say, you let it boil. You breathe that steam in. That helps with the common cold, according to traditional methods in Europe. In the Middle East, garlic was traditionally used to treat hypertension and digestive disorders. It was often eaten raw or added to food. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of the same ideas. So in India, garlic is used as a warming herb, believed to stimulate the Agni. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know enough about Indian medicine. I should learn more, which is apparently translates to digestive fire. Actually, then that's the same as Chinese medicine. If I'm understanding this right, that's spleen, pancreas. That's helping the fire. Okay, cool. It's used in various forms, including pickles, chutney, and as a spice in cooking. That's right. So these properties, kind of however you use garlic, whether you're doing it raw or you're cooking it in various ways or you're pickling it or whatever, you can still get these benefits. It's not like some things where once you heat it, the benefits go away. Not with garlic. Garlic's, you keep those benefits. Eastern European, in some Eastern European practices, garlic-infused water was used as a disinfectant to treat colds and the flu. That's some magic right there. Okay, I think there's something to that. Here's an idea for you, all right? You can take some garlic and you can boil it, or you, maybe even better is like you squeeze some raw garlic, you get the juice, and you put that into like one of those spray bottles, right? So you've got some water in there, and you got some of this garlic juice in there. I think that probably has some very strong properties for as a disinfectant to get rid of bad things. So in Chinese medicine, we talked about the 6 evils. I think that it would be very good at getting rid of some of those evils, getting rid of negative energy, if you want to even go that far. So how would you use it? Well, I mean, especially if you're coming down with a cold or something, you could just spray it around the air, or you can spray it in places you touch. Might smell intense because you're going to get garlic smell all over the place. But I think there's something to that. Now, I have not tried that. I think I might try it sometime. And if any of you out there have tried that, if you have any recipes where you have some sort of disinfectant made from garlic, please by all means leave those in the comments below. I want to learn more about this. I think there's something to it, though I haven't messed with it very much, but I think there's something to that. And it's very interesting that it says that they use this in Eastern Europe, because I would think this might be a thing that Chinese medicine would fully agree with as well. Leave those in the comments below. Maybe we'll do a whole video about that in the future. Maybe there's some magical formula that is good for like preventing colds that we could just spray around our house with this. Here's some uses for garlic. Boil garlic in water to make a tea infusion. This can be used for respiratory ailments or as a gargle for sore throats. So again, this is coming back to, we're just coming down with a cold. Want to use garlic. These are all different ways that we can use garlic. Crushed garlic cloves can be used topically for fungal infections. Worth a try? Definitely worth a try, right? Because garlic, I'm telling you, it's got some magical properties. Now let's go into some recipes. Garlic ginger soup for colds. 4 to 5 cloves of garlic minced, 1 inch of fresh ginger minced, 4 cups of chicken or vegetable broth. Oh, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I think that's probably optional. And then 2, you can have green onions, mushrooms, other vegetables, salt and pepper, all of that. So basically it's some vegetable broth, some bone broth, that'd be even better, and a bunch of garlic and a bunch of ginger. You can follow these specific recipes, but you can put a lot in, and I think it'll probably make it better. In a pot, heat I see what they're saying here. Okay, this is what the oil is. In a pot, heat olive oil over medium heat. Add minced garlic and ginger, sauteing until fragrant. Pour in the broth and bring to a boil. Okay, so that's what you want the oil for. You're just sauteing it a little bit before you put it. That will pull out those, all the flavors and everything a little bit more. Probably would make the soup taste better than if you just threw raw ginger and garlic into the soup, even though that might be good as well. Yeah, put some salt and pepper, and then that can even be, that's the other thing. Simmer for 20 to 30 minutes. This can be the base of then any soup, right? Then you can make the soup however you want, and it has the powers of ginger and garlic infused in it. So that's why I said earlier, we want to really understand how these things work, and then you can use them however you want. You don't necessarily have to just make this, but now you have some ideas of how to use them. Garlic congee for digestion. If you don't know what congee is, it's basically porridge made with white rice. Or you can think of like the way that you make white rice and just add twice as much, 3 times as much water as you usually would. And that's what congee is, pretty straightforward. 1 cup of rice, 6 cups of water or broth, 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, finely chopped, salt to taste, optional, shredded chicken, vegetables, tofu, yeah, whatever. You put, again, it's just flexible. You can put anything you want on it, or you don't have to put anything at all. You can just eat it like that. Rinse the rice until the water runs clear, normal practice for getting rice ready. In a large pot, combine rice, water or broth, and garlic. Bring to a boil. It couldn't be easier. Reduce to a simmer, cover, and cook for about an hour, stirring occasionally. The congee should have a creamy consistency. If you have one of those pressure cookers as well, even better. Even better, put it in that. Add salt to taste, cook for another 10 to 15 minutes, then serve. So basically you're just boiling it a lot. You're making just a standard white rice congee, and you put garlic in it. Why, may you ask? Well, we just go back to what we were talking about earlier, because the garlic helps warm the spleen, pancreas, the fire of your digestion. Good thing we learned that already. Now we know. Now all of this makes sense, doesn't it? Garlic and honey remedy. Ingredients: several cloves of garlic, raw honey. That's it. I'm giving you I'm giving everyone the easy recipes here. Anybody can make this. Crush or finely chop the garlic cloves and let them sit for about 10 minutes. This process allows the activation of allicin, a compound in garlic. I probably mispronounced that, but I had heard about this before. Sometimes they say you want to let garlic sit for a little bit. Mix the garlic to make it more potent. Mix the garlic with enough honey to cover it. Store in a jar. Let sit for a few days to a week before using. So basically, you're just putting garlic in honey. Pretty easy. Take a teaspoon of this mixture once or twice a day during cold and flu season. I have not tried this. Honey is delicious and garlic is delicious. You wouldn't think those two together would be delicious, but you want to know what? It might be really delicious. Now we're going to go into a little bit of some Western culinary traditions and how they use garlic. And you want to know what? I think we're going to find some similar things that we will find in some of the Chinese cook. I mean, Chinese use garlic in every which way. It's wonderful. I love it a lot. Garlic lemon honey tea. Okay, so we're taking a step further and we're adding a little bit of lemon. 2 to 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1 tablespoon of honey, juice of half a lemon, 1 cup of hot water. You place the minced garlic in a mug, add the honey and lemon juice, pour hot water over these ingredients and stir well. Let it steep for 5 minutes before drinking. Couldn't be more simple. Roasted garlic soup. Okay, so this is a Western method. Let's look at this. 2 heads of garlic, cloves, separated and peeled, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 4 cups of chicken, 1 onion. Preheat. Oh, interesting. Preheat oven. We're using the oven for soup? I guess. To 375 degrees, 190 degrees Celsius. Toss garlic cloves with olive oil and wrap in foil. Wow. Roast in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes until tender and go. Oh, it's kind of the same. Instead of just, using your wok and getting it cooked that way, you're putting it in tin foil and oil as well, and you're just heating it that way. I guess it would be, energetically, it would be a little bit different. I think both would be great. It sounds great. In a pot, saute the onions until translucent. That's a common Western practice. Add the roasted garlic and broth. Bring to a boil and then simmer for 20 minutes. Blend the soup until smooth. Blend the soup. Interesting. I guess you got to get out the blender for this one. Season with salt, pepper, and optional herbs. You want to know what? It sounds like the end result would be very similar to if you just sauteed the garlic. That's what it sounds like to me. But they're adding some onions. Yeah, I mean, all of this. These are just all different ways to kind of achieve the same thing. To make soup that has delicious garlic flavor in it. In China, they use garlic a lot more than in the West. I mean, you could find garlic in like every dish and every meal. And that's a big thing. Scallions, ginger, and garlic. These are things that we want to incorporate into our lives, not once or twice, but we should be eating these daily. These help our digestion. They help keep colds away. They help keep bad things away. It's just smart. Find ways to I gave you a bunch of ways. You can go all out and eat it raw. You can saute stuff. You can make drinks. You can put it with honey so it can be a little bit sweet. There's all different ways. You just got to incorporate it into your diet. The benefits abound. Now, generally, I would end the video here. And at this point, I would talk about how, hey, you should get yourself some Days coffee that it uses a 50 enzyme complex to naturally get rid of the caffeine. So you get all these benefits that you get from coffee. I've made videos about that before, but then you get the reduced caffeine, and it's not reduced by chemicals. It's reduced in a very natural way, and only Days is doing this. So if you go to the description below, you'll find a link about that, and you can use the code ALH, Ancient Life Hacks, 15, ALH 15 to get 15% off. But you want to know what? We're not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about that right now because our video is not over. Some of you maybe came to this video not for everything I just said, but for what I'm about to say. Okay. Some of the serious uses of garlic. The belief that garlic repels vampires is most famously associated with Eastern European folklore, particularly in regions like Romania and Hungary. Vampires were thought to be evil entities or the undead with an aversion to garlic's strong smell. Okay. So if you have a vampire problem, right, or you have an evil entity problem, you use garlic. You can take this seriously or not. I'm trying to take this as seriously as I can. Let's take it. You want to know what? Let's say it's an actual problem. Maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody out there has a vampire problem and they're watching this saying, Jared, what are you making fun of this for? I got a vampire problem. There's a vampire in my basement, or there's a vampire walking around, or there's some evil entities walking around. And they're messing with me all day long, and I can't get rid of them. And you're making fun of this? I'm looking to you for answers, and you're mocking me. You want to know what? You're right. You're right, and I'm wrong. I shouldn't mock this. This is serious business. I tell you, if I had a vampire problem, I would want to really figure out how to deal with it. So let's explore it. Let's not make fun of this. Stop laughing. It's not funny. Everything that we learned about we learned about garlic. We learned about its ability to fight fungus. We learned about fungal infections, right? We learned about its ability to fight ringworms and hookworms and deal with toxicity. So, I'm going out on a limb here and I'm saying maybe that and vampires all fall into one category. Let's just say for a minute that it does. Maybe all of that is some sort of evil energy. If that's the case, then yes, garlic should be very effective at repelling vampires or other evil entities. Hey, there you go. That's not funny. That's good stuff, you know? So traditionally, to ward off vampires, garlic cloves were hung over doors, windows, or around the neck. Oh, you can make a nice necklace with garlic. You know, it's a good talking point. You go to a party wearing that, right? And like, hey, people are like, hey, what's you're wearing garlic around your neck? And I'm like, the simple fact that you are standing here talking to me tells me that you are not a vampire. All right, so you've passed the first test. I will now discuss with you why I'm wearing. And if you go into a party and like some people run away and you're wearing your garlic necklace, hey, you want to know what? Maybe those people were vampires. Maybe they were there to get you. So, you know, make fun of this all you want, but, right? This tradition was partly rooted in the idea that the strong odor of garlic was effective in repelling evil spirits and beings. Okay, so kind of what I was saying, a belief that predates the specific vampire legend. Oh, so even before vampires came to be, garlic was used to get rid of evil spirits. Which brings us into evil spirits. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting into it for real. Beyond vampires, garlic has been used in various cultures to ward off evil spirits. In ancient times, it was used in rituals and was believed to have protective properties against the supernatural. Similar to the vampire legends, garlic was placed in areas around the house, around the property, to create a barrier against ghosts or evil spirits. You want to know what I just thought of? What if you grow garlic, using this logic, you grow garlic like around your house, like you plant it around your house. Maybe that'll keep ghosts from coming into your house, right? And even if it doesn't, then you've got a lot of garlic you can eat at any point. In some cultures, garlic was used in burial rites cloves of garlic were placed in the coffin or burial ground to protect the deceased from evil spirits or to prevent them from rising as evil spirits. Okay, this is serious. So, in the coffin, it sounds like they would throw a bunch of garlic in. Like, you know what? This guy's dead, but is he really dead? Is he going to come back and get us? Just throw a bunch of garlic in. Don't let him come back to life, or he's going to get us. I'm not making fun of this. This is serious. It's something we should consider. Okay, garlic has also been used symbolically in various religious and cultural rituals, representing purity, protection, and strength. Okay, so now we've gone beyond the whole vampire, evil spirits thing, and it represents purity, protection, and strength. Actually, that still is kind of the same thing, isn't it? References to garlic's protective qualities can be found in historical texts, folklore, and mythology. Yeah, I'm sure we've all heard of that, right? Illustrating its long-standing association with spiritual protection. In medieval times, garlic was used as a preventative measure against plagues and other infectious diseases. That's right. It was believed that its strong odor could purify the air and ward off illnesses. You want to know what? We were talking a little bit earlier. We had that thing where you spray some garlic water around, right? Like maybe if you want to up your game, you don't just hang garlic around your house. You want to know what? Okay, let's think about this for a second. Okay, you get some of those. First of all, they look cool, right? We've seen those, like those old Italian, like where they string it together. You put those around your house. First of all, that's cool decoration. Check, right? If you ever need any garlic, you have more than enough to eat. Check. Does it keep out colds and things like that? I mean, you already got the first two, and if it does, all the better. And you want to know what? Number 4, maybe it'll keep out evil spirits. All the better. So I don't see why, you know what? I'm probably going to, after I tape this, I'm probably going to go to the store and buy a bunch of garlic and put it in strings and put it all over my house. You know, 4 serious benefits right there. Now, but, okay, to go back for real, but joking a little, but for real again, that kind of makes me think that since it does have all these properties, like these antimicrobial and all of these properties, I think there might be something to this spray, right? Where you squeeze out some of the garlic juice and you make some sort, even if you just put it into water and you spray it around. Like that's, again, if anybody else has an idea, please leave those in the comments. This is a simple idea. And in theory, you could spray that around and it might actually kill bacteria. I think that's an actual thing. I think we can prove that. That's not just us saying stuff here. And so that might be an actual thing that would be good to use in your house. You know, maybe you throw a big party and after everybody leaves, you spray it down with garlic. Garlic was used for its antiseptic properties to clean wounds, and prevent infection long before the discovery of modern antibiotics. Well, that's like, you could use both, right? If somebody has an infection, you could, right? I don't see why you couldn't use both. I don't know. I don't know enough about antibiotics. Somebody else can answer that. Warding off the evil eye. Protection against envy and bad luck. Oh my gosh. I thought garlic was just good in meals and helped with your digestion and keeping colds away. But you want to know what? Garlic was believed to offer protection against the evil eye. I don't know what that is. If somebody knows what that... Oh, it says it right here. A curse believed to be cast by a malevolent glare. Often given to a person when they are unaware. Hey, that's not nice at all. Who would do that? Carrying a clove of garlic was thought to shield individuals from envy and jealousy and to ward off bad luck. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because that's genius. Now I got to carry garlic around in my pocket with me. Or I can do the necklace. That's even better. In some rural traditions, garlic was planted with specific rituals to ensure a bountiful harvest. Well, okay, but you could also just plant garlic because it's great, and then you have a lot of garlic. That would be a reason to plant garlic as well. There were beliefs that certain ailments and misfortunes could be cured or prevented by rituals involving garlic. Okay, here we go. Protection at sea. Sailors often carried garlic as a protective charm against shipwrecks and to ensure safe voyages. I had no idea garlic had so many uses in so many cultures. Garlic holds a significant place in Chinese folk traditions, reflecting a deep-rooted cultural appreciation for its properties beyond the culinary sphere. Here's a look at some. Okay, so now we're getting into the Chinese stuff. Okay, so I see. So we did, that was all the folk traditions that were in the West. So to recap, evil spirits and vampires and stuff don't like garlic. You can hang a bunch of garlic about your house. You can carry it in your pocket with you. I would say up your game and make a garlic spray, right? And it wards against bad luck and jealousy and the evil eye. What was it called again? Yeah, the evil eye. Oh, I guess that makes somebody giving you the evil eye. Somebody giving you the crook eye, the evil eye. Protects against that, blocks that nonsense so they don't get you with it. So here's some stuff now that they used in Chinese folklore. Similar to many cultures around the world, garlic in Chinese folklore is often considered a powerful deterrent against evil spirits and negative energies. You want to know what? You make fun of it all you want. You can make fun of this stuff all you want. But the simple fact, I always kind of think to myself, two cultures that kind of developed very far away from each other, that maybe didn't have a lot of contact with each other, if any contact, and that kind of can't come to the same conclusions for things. Even though nowadays we might think that stuff, all these evil spirits and stuff is just nonsense and silly. But there seems to be something said for the fact that both in the East and the West, they're saying garlic wards off evil spirits. Did they know something we didn't know? I mean, this channel is Ancient Life Hacks. Right? Its strong odor is believed to repel evil forces. It's saying the same. This is really fascinating, actually. Garlic sometimes, along with other herbs, is used in certain traditional rituals to cleanse and protect the homes or individuals from bad luck and evil spirits. I can't believe this. It's the same thing. All right, so that's it. So maybe there's no scientific proof of this, but you want to know what? Well, couldn't hurt anything. Walking around with a garlic necklace. Garlic has been a staple in Chinese agriculture, and it often symbolizes good harvest and fertility of the land. Garlic has been a staple in Chinese agriculture, and it often symbolizes good harvest and fertility of the land. This is reflective of its importance in Chinese cuisine and traditional Chinese medicine, both of which we have gone over. Some folk tales, we're still in China now, and legends portray garlic as a blessed or magical crop. I'd agree with that. Brought by deities or ancient heroes to aid the people. Oh, wow, that's cool. Hey, you want to know what? Right? If all that stuff is true, I guess it makes sense because I'm telling you, scallions, ginger, and garlic, there's something kind of magical about those. They seem to transcend just normal things. If the deities were to be nice and bring good things to humans, I can see that those three things with the properties that borderline on magic, that's what you would want to give people. Those are very good things. Carrying or placing garlic is sometimes believed to ward off misfortune and attract good luck. This is in China, but it sounds like Same thing the Europeans are saying, particularly in rural areas or among older generations, right? So older people would talk about that, but I don't think it means you have to be of an older generation to enjoy the benefits of garlic. It's just they talk about that. And maybe in modern times we don't talk about it as much, but you want to know what? Maybe we should. In some regional practices, garlic might be used in divination rituals to predict future events or seek guidance. Okay, even better. These are all good things. I think they are. Often, garlic's ability to grow in various conditions is seen as a symbol of resilience and adaptability in Chinese folklore. Okay, so that's it. So we've dived in. That's all of garlic. If you have any magical secret remedies or anything like that, please leave those in the comments below. I'm sure everybody watching this video would love to see it, love to learn about those. All right. Don't forget to go to ancientlifehacks.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. Maybe if we find some good stuff, I'll send that out in a newsletter. Might not have time to make a video, but I can send it straight to your email. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, I'll see everyone next week.